the radio down?
Yeah.
So today we're joining over 190 World War II veterans at the Normandy American Cemetery. This is the largest number of World War II veterans in over a decade, according to the country of France. We're expecting several presidents from multiple nations, and it's going to be one of the last, if not the last, largest anniversary with this many World War II veterans. So we're really closing the chapter today.
Let me see the inside of that jacket.
So this is a jacket that my father had made for me on my birthday, because I've been doing a lot of speakings and book signings and things like that, and it's pretty neat.
That thing's nice. Hey, looking forward to everything today, and hey, appreciate what you do.
Thank you, brother.
One reason why I would like to come back was when we went through all this area, it was all bombed out. And the reason I wanted to come back is see how it was all rebuilt, and it looked beautiful now. Back then it didn't. It was terrible. Everything was destroyed, you know. And the ceremony was overwhelming. I thank the guy that got it all together, Andy Biggio, did a wonderful job doing it. Yep.
All right, well, we just got back to the area where we are staying. And the chateau that's kind of serving as our headquarters this week is right down this road right here, just, a couple hundred yards. This is the area that the 2nd Infantry Division moved through in the days after D-Day. And one of the guys who is helping with our veterans this week went out on a walk the other day, went down this path right here and found something really interesting. All right, now check this out. As we walk back here, well, you can see this old structure here. This is an old kiln, and you can kind of see back in there. Now, that it doesn't go back especially far. But here's something that is really interesting. Back here at the end of this path, where this kiln is a monument to the 2nd U.S. Infantry Division. And let me just read that real quick. It says, this lime kiln sheltered 42 civilians against the shelling of Treviers from the 7th of June till the 10th of June 1944. A wounded American soldier was treated in the kiln by the civilians for 3 days. Agnerville was liberated from German occupation by units of the 2nd Infantry Division on the 8th of June 1944. So right here in this spot, well, you can understand why if there's artillery shelling that is taking place, the local civilians might come here to seek shelter. And also got a wounded 2nd Infantry Division guy and treated him and kept him alive during the battle. That is very fascinating. All right, now this, in my opinion, is cool enough by itself, but to add to it, we have a veteran of the 2nd Infantry Division who is going to be joining us for dinner tonight. His name is Buck Sloan. He's 100 years old, and we are going to bring him down here and let him take a look at this monument. And then if he's up to it, I'm going to see if he can maybe share a few stories with us about his time during the war.
So we're right now, Buck, we're 5 miles from Omaha Beach right now.
Is that a fact?
That's a fact. We're just about there, another 10 yards.
Not that far.
Okay?
That's a bridge.
Yep.
Bridge.
Yep, I'll bring you right in here, and we're going to read this beautiful
Watch
plaque.
that branch.
And I know you know that logo up there.
Down to a V.
Yep. So I'll read it to you. It says, in this lime kiln sheltered 42 civilians against the shelling from both American and German going back and forth. During that time, a wounded American soldier from the 2nd Infantry Division was taken care of by 42 civilians. They're forever grateful that the 2nd Infantry Division liberated them on June 8th of 1944.
I'll be damned. June 8th.
Right here, that 2nd Infantry Division soldier was taken care of, and 42 civilians hid in these tunnels from the artillery.
How far does that go back in there?
Not too far. You can walk in.
Yeah,
if you want.
Check it out.
That's okay.
Yeah.
This is good enough for me.
Yeah.
I mean, what was this originally? So how come it to be that?
So this whole area was a different kind of castle and a palace. Goes back. I think they told us, the homeowners, the property owner, told us back before the almost the 1600s, I believe.
Is the house back in there?
No, it's up where you're about to have dinner.
How far does that go?
Well, from here it's sealed off, so I don't know if it went back further back in the day, but this is the original Kelms, they call it.
I was in England driving a truck and taking stuff all over to England, hauling money down the dock, and I found out later it was ammunition. So one day a guy comes out, was a colonel and a lieutenant. They had some stuff with them. Cosmoline, they said, waterproof that truck. Well, hell, I know how. He said, you got to fix it where to run underwater. So they left, and they had the pipes to run from the carburetor. There's gas in. And I waterproofed that dude, buddy. I got the
carburetor and the distributor and all. Had to cover the wires and run the pipe out in the back up for the cab, and so in a couple of days they had me on a ship, and they took me on over to Omaha Beach and lifted me up and put me in one of these things that dumps in the front. I drove out in that water, and it's a cloth cab. It didn't have a cab, it had and I went out in there, and that thing just kept going down, so I reached over and I took my throttle and I pulled it out about halfway and stood up and held onto the windshield. And it just got up to, finally it got up where my legs were, I was just hanging in, and I was going through the water and my legs were behind me. I was hanging on. Going through that water, I didn't know, wonder how much deeper it's going to be, I thought. And finally it started coming up, and as soon as I could, I sat back in. And I made it to the top up there, and the next day, they took my truck and gave me a BAR. The BAR man had been killed, or wounded one. And I had that BAR all the way to Czechoslovakia, all the way across. 5 battles, and so that's the start of my fighting.
So when was that you came ashore at Omaha?
Must have been D+1 or 2.
Okay.
Because they were still dead bodies around.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
They were shooting. Well, I went too far down there, and they started shooting at me, so I turned around and came out and back. So.
Wow. Can you describe what Omaha Beach looked like when you guys came ashore?
It was just there's still some bodies. They had never got the bodies off, and I just remember seeing them, and some of them still washing out from outside, washing into the shore, and it was just a mess. It was a mess, and the Germans were still up on the top, yet they hadn't gone. And I got me that BAR, and we got after them from then on all the way across. And I held on that thing to the Battle of the Bulge.
Wow. Can you describe the hedgerow fighting that took place here?
Well, them hedgerows was eating our lunch, and we had to go over them. And it was they'd shoot you right off there. And I had to guard, so we called him in, and this little small tank had 2 teeth on it, and it'd go right in the front, and it'd root that out right just like that. And we came in behind that tank for quite a while, and old blood and gut. And you know what? I'm gonna get his granddaughter will be at that thing. The last one, she'll be there. Helen Patton. She'll be there. But he was better than what people. He wasn't as mean as people said he was. They called him blood and guts. He had a heart as big as gold.
Wow. Can you recall any close calls that you had fighting in the hedgerows?
All of them was close. I had to, when I was far and so the guys could move on, I was far and I had to get up. I found out right soon that they'd find that smoke, and where I was far from it, I'd have to move. So I knew to move every time I fired very much. I'd move in there, there'd be shells come out in small mortars. Yes, sir. It was something.
Wow. So you were wounded at the Battle of the Bulge, right?
Yeah, but before I got there, I forget where this was, but before I got into Brest, they had us pinned down, the machine guns, German machine guns, and they started killing us. And somehow or another, I had got up to the hedgerow, and I was right there, and they called for a smoke screen.
Wow.
And when that smoke screen came, I fell off that hedgerow to inside that sunken road, and I got to drop on a German soldier that could speak English. And I kept sending him back down this way, and he brought him out with about a 6 water cooled machine gun, and he brought him out right there in A Company. I turned him on to A Company. 31 Germans that I got out of there. I got his pistol. I still got it today. And so it came out in the Star. I heard this now. I don't know how true it is, but it came out in the Stars and Stripes that they come to capture 31 Germans. It wasn't A Company that did it. I did it.
Wow.
I got the gun that come off of that German.
So, can you tell me a little bit about your experience when the Battle of the Bulge broke out?
Yeah, I'll run you over some of that. We was way down in the hurricane forest, headed on into past let's see, Germany. What's the name?
Krinkelt?
Yeah, and Krinkelt.
Yeah.
We was headed on in on the hurricane forest, and them Germans started coming, shelling us, and we had to get out of there because the tree burst was hell. And we finally got out of there, and snow was this deep. And we was headed to Rockcliffe and Krinkelt. And that's when the Germans made their last push. And right at the edge of Rockcliffe in Krinkelt, well, them Tiger tanks, we heard them coming. Mm-hmm. And I got down in the road ditch and covered myself up with snow. And they was coming right on up that road. And that, what it's like here, there's a road ditch. I was in the ditch. Okay. They didn't see me. It was getting dark too already. And they went on into Rockcliffe and Krinkelt. And of course, the next morning it was hell there. So that's where I got wounded with a hand grenade, hand-to-hand fighting at Taylor Masher. Oh. Got me. But he got hell. I gave him a pineapple. We always had a pineapple hanging on our deals. You know, we had that pin. That pin bent pretty hard. It wasn't good to accidentally pull, you know. Before we done one, we had to straighten our pin back so we could pull it.
Wow.
So that's, and my buddy, they captured him, Jack, and Lowen, they killed him. My second scout, Jack wasn't the first scout. And that was a hell. At night. Well, that's the biggest fight they've ever been, ever, anywhere. Wow. And I just went through it, got through it, you know. And when I got wounded, me and Stacks, I had to help him. I was wounded on this side. I'd put my body up in there, and he threw that grenade, and I throwed mine, and when it went off, it just got my back and right here. And of course, I got the concussion. It got him in the legs, and he could. So I drug him. I helped him. He could crawl, and I helped him. We got out there a little ways, and there was a big dugout. And there was young kid soldiers down in that thing crying, you know, and they didn't know which way to go. I said, well, follow me, I got to get out of here. And I was bleeding into my boots. And so I knew about where it hit the and I hit the Americans, and they said, well, it's a good thing. They said, who is there? And I said, I'm a GI. He said, good thing you said that. So they let us go in there, and so they took care of me from then on. But them young kids, They was crying, and then they was in that hole.
Wow.
One grenade would have got them.
I heard you telling a pretty interesting story about what happened after you recovered with FDR's death.
That's I don't know how that happened, but when I got through, got well, got enough to go back, they had us to fall out, in our vest, and so we fell out, and they got us all over for 12 of us. And we got in this Coventry Cemetery, church, on the church ground in Coventry, England, and lined up at bombed out church, and lined up and done a 21 volley salute when he died.
Wow.
And I got the pictures of it.
Wow.
Yeah, and of course he was one of my favorite presidents. You didn't remember, he was a president, Roosevelt.
Yeah.
And that's one of the interesting things I've been in, and so.
Interesting. Well, hey, thanks for taking a minute to shoot the bull with me.
You bet you. I hope, I'm glad I'm telling much truth as I can remember.
Yeah.
I can even tell you about this time that I had me a harmonica.
Uh-huh. Oh, hang on.
You gonna let it go?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
I took a harmonica off of German and ended up at the secret feed line.
Uh-huh.
And I was dug out in front where, VAR. So I had my harp, and down in the valley I heard a French harp. Well, I took mine out, and I'd played along with it. I'd play a note, and he'd play another note. He learned me Lily Marlene, that German, on his harp. I'm telling the truth. Yeah.
Oh, that is something else.
I wonder if he was living what he thought about that. Well, I love the 2nd Division, and it's called 2nd Division, second to none. And I wrote it after we got back to America, and I'd go to the yearly anniversaries. And so I wrote this song, and it's pretty true. Do the best you can, honey. You ready?
Yeah.
There was a 2nd Division in World War II. They Normandy landed to kill 192. Cross sunken road, go from hedgerow to hedgerow. Took southern France and also St. Louis. We took World War I. For the 2nd Division, second to none. Moved on to West, gone from house to house. Went upstairs as quiet as a mouse. I looked in the corner, and to my delight, there was a U.S. blanket made neat and high. There was a big trouble that made a loud sound, and when we wound tight, said Alabama bound. This. We knew right then they'd been there and won. For the 2nd Division, second to none. There was McCarty, Polton, Bulge and me. Thomas and Matthew, we were all in B. For the Battle of the Bulge and a secret feed line. We had to move out, we didn't have much time. We fought in the cold from sun to sun. 'Cause the 2nd Division is second to none. Yes, the 2nd Division is second to none.
Very nice.
You could tell I wrote that from the heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
God
mean,
bless you.